I'm Gab, he's Jules. Could care less about the weather in West London right now because we have new world champions, Jules. I'm sorry, it is not France, it is Argentina. Lionel Messi finally winning the World Cup. We're going to get into that. We will get into that, Messi fans. But first, Jules, we have to reflect on the game because as a neutral, and as you know, I am a neutral in this one, this was maybe the most entertaining final I can remember, right up there with Germany and Argentina in 1986, but maybe this is even better.
Yeah, I thought this was the greatest World Cup final ever, I have to be honest, even if it broke my heart at the end. But so much emotion, so many twists, so much drama, so much perfection from Argentina for 45 minutes, maybe up to an hour. An amazing performance from Kylian Mbappe, an amazing performance from Leo Messi as well. It was just fantastic to watch, to be there, for us to witness in the stadium, for people in front of the television or listening to the radio. It was a special moment. I just wish that the ending,
That's understandable. You got to celebrate 4 years ago, and in fact, 24 years ago as well. I mean, you were a little child. We want to get into Messi and Mbappe because obviously that is a big part of the story. But we have to start with the coaches because I thought, when I saw the lineups and I saw Di Maria in there, I said to myself, all right, Scaloni's really bold. In fact, we were over there on the set, and I said he's going to walk away a fool or a king.
You said it, yeah.
100%, he nailed that. This concern, if you play Di Maria, you lose control of the midfield, blah, blah, blah. He played Di Maria. He took the game to France. France were supposedly more comfortable playing on the counter, letting the opposition have it. I thought that was hugely brave, and he was rewarded.
Yeah, you're right, Gabi. That call from Di Maria, and not just to start him, but to start him on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Where usually you would have expected him to play on the right and go against Theo and try to have those 2v1 with Molina against Theo because Kylian, as we know, doesn't defend much. No, he was on the other side, and to be fair, he caused all sorts of problems to Dembele, who fouled him for the penalty, the first goal. Against Koundé as well, it was full of energy from midfield. I thought that midfield from Argentina, Alexis, Enzo and De Paul, of course, bossed the midfield for an hour, certainly for the first 45 minutes. The French could do nothing really with the ball. They were sloppy in possession. They were slow to react, could not win the duels, could not win the second balls, and that's why Argentina started so well.
Let's talk about this because obviously, when teams struggle, sometimes it's down to them, sometimes it's down to the opposition playing well. And praising Argentina for the way they set up, for the way they lined up.
Too right.
I was hugely disappointed in that first half with the performance of Dembele, above all, not just the penalty he gave away. I thought he contributed zero. He gave the ball away. He looked, we said Dembele is an up and down player. This was one of those games we just did not show up.
Yeah.
And Griezmann, I thought, was struggling as well in the middle of the park. But I didn't get Deschamps' solution. I don't understand. What was it, minute 40?
40,
minute
yeah.
40.
Which he's never done ever before in his managerial career.
I can think of very few people. I mean, we can all remember Jose Mourinho, of course, a first-half substitution. But this is a World Cup final. And, okay, you want to humiliate Dembele, he's terrible, even though you can wait 5 minutes, fine. Why did he have to take off Giroud in that position when you know even bad Giroud will still be a threat? He'll hold up the ball. He can still do something. You couldn't even let France's all-time leading goal scorer, you couldn't give him the dignity of waiting 5 more minutes until halftime.
But maybe just wanted, he thought, okay, maybe if I change now, there might be a goal. There was 5 minutes plus, I think, 7 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. And he thought maybe now is the right time. We can maybe unsettle them by bringing Colomwani and his pace. Thuram moving Kylian centrally. And maybe he thought it's good to do it now instead of doing it at halftime and come back after the break. That's the only way I can see why he did that at that time. I think Giroud was a bit struggling with his knee. He was not very much in the game either. Dembele, I agree with you. I think the foul on Di Maria from Dembele took him out of the game anyway. So in the end, when you look at the second half and what Thuram and Colomwani brought to this game overall in their performance, it was the right thing to do. Maybe he could have waited a little bit more. He could have done it earlier, I think. And you know what? He could have done it from the start. Because yesterday he was thinking about starting Thuram and putting Giroud on the bench. And I think for me to have done those subs so early, he must have regretted not taking that tough decision, of course. But he must have regretted not to have started with Thuram.
I think what's very obvious to me is this France team are not used to playing from behind. Because I know he had to make those changes and he felt he had to make radical changes. But with that base lineup that he had out there, I mean, leave aside Giroud for 1 second, even if you changed Dembele for somebody else, it's just not comfortable doing it. There's not the playmaking there. And again, maybe because obviously there's no 2018 Pogba in there to unlock things. Griezmann, I think, was having a difficult time. I'm not saying it's all on him. He's had a phenomenal tournament.
But there was a good plan against Griezmann tonight, for sure.
There was no unlocking.
Yeah.
Instead, we ended up with effectively a 4-2-4. That is how, after Coleman came on.
Oh, yeah, exactly. The second one, we were 4-4-2 if you want, but yeah, very much so.
And at that point, it is what in Italy we call a broken game. There really isn't much tactics, and it is how you handle that. And again, I don't want to pick on Scaloni, and we praised them before.
Yeah.
But my mind went back to the Holland game, to the Australia game, where you're in control. Used to be a 2-0 lead. It's unforgivable to give it up.
Yeah.
And then that happens. Could he have done something differently there?
Yeah, completely. I mean, I don't think Di Maria can last the whole 90 minutes, let alone the 120 minutes, considering he hadn't played in the last 2 games.
Substitutions earlier. That's what you're going to say.
No. But don't bring Acuna. So don't play with 2 left backs on that left-hand side, because there's still more than an hour to go, I think, when Acuna comes on. Why Acuna? Why Acuna on that left-hand side ahead of Tagliafico when you could have both Paredes on, for example, and even have more control on that midfield? Have Alexis, Paredes, De Paul, and Enzo. Acuna made no sense. He was like, what is going on? And then almost as soon as that happened, Coman comes on, and suddenly on that right-hand side, France have a bit more energy. Thuram on the left-hand side. Kylian is starting to get into the game. There's still no shot from France until the 70th minute, but at least you could feel in the stadium that they were back into this game.
Obviously, you scored 2 goals in the space of, I don't know, did anybody calculate the seconds?
I didn't look. I think, it was just above a minute, I think.
Again, not what you see in a World Cup final. We've seen something like that in a Champions League final many years ago, but not like this.
Yeah.
The second one, was that just all being at 6s and 7s from the first?
No, I just think it's an amazing, a bit like the second goal from Argentina, which is a fantastic counter-attack that I think Upamecano doesn't have to play the ball the way he does by the touchline. He can let the ball go out. It would have been a throw-in for France. He tries to place it, mispasses the ball, and then he goes too quickly for the French then for the Di Maria goal. In the same way, that second goal from France, I don't think there's anything wrong really from Argentina in the way they set up. Defensively, the line is good. It's just too quick. And that 1-2 between Mbappe and Thuram, I just think it goes too quickly. And then it's an amazing volley from Kylian to score a goal in that position, a bit similar to the one he scored against Juventus in the Champions League with PSG, although this one is a bit further out. And then at 2-2, I'm thinking like, wow, okay, we're going to win this.
It certainly felt like the momentum had shifted. I want to take you back, though, before that, to the Otamendi decision.
Yeah.
You
want to?
Our colleague James Ollie was commenting, it was Mark Ogden was commenting on our email thread about what a great game Simon Marciniak, the referee, had. You disagreed with the Otamendi one.
I just think Otamendi should have been sent off. Just, in that game, I don't understand how he stayed on the pitch for the whole game.
All right, you be the judge at home on that one.
What do you think? You
I
agree
think
a little bit
at that
with me.
stage of the game, it takes a lot to send somebody off. That's all I'm going to say. It's a human situation.
But De Paul didn't have a yellow card. I mean, how long did it take him to take a yellow card out? Like, I don't know. I thought there's a few. I thought he did well overall, but there's a few things for Otamendi and De Paul especially where I was a bit like, come on.
The game goes into extra time, and at this stage, we said the momentum felt as if it was with France. It felt as if Argentina were tired. He finally started making some substitutions because it was incredible. In minute 90, he had only made 1 substitution, which kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
And then we get that run from Lautaro. Lloris saves it, and who's there to poke it in? It's Lionel Messi. Now, again, Messi reading the situation. Do you blame the defenders there for the way Lautaro got away and for not picking up Messi?
We saw the semi-automatic offline linesman, and he was literally on side for this. So I'm not sure. Yeah, of course, I think it's Upamecano. He can step up maybe a little bit earlier and play him offside. It's hard. He goes so quickly. I did think, to be fair, I thought he was onside. I thought he was offside, watching the game, because the way I was sat, I was literally almost on the same line, and it looked very tight to me. and then we had the proof that he was onside. But I have to say, at that time, I thought, okay, now this is over. And I think it felt from the Argentines that it was over. The way Messi was celebrating, the crowd behind that goal, because they scored on the goal where all the fans were. It felt like they thought, okay, this is it. There's 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
I think 109th, and this is it now. We're going to see this come out.
And by the way, that goal, the ball, obviously, it was a goal line technology situation.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious
Yeah.
when you watch the replay. But again, for all those people against tech and VAR and the good old days and so on, I can imagine that being missed. I can completely imagine that being missed, and I can imagine all hell breaking loose, just like they missed somebody headbutting another player back in 2006.
Yeah, the Frank Lampard shot.
So, credit to that. And then it seems done.
Yeah.
It seems done. And then you get this gift, and I'm sorry because this is a gift.
Yeah.
This is a gift from heaven. You're not going to blame Montiel, are you?
In which way?
I mean, with hindsight, uncoordinated, arm away from his body, it is a penalty. But I don't know.
That way, sorry. Yeah, no. I think so. I'm not sure there's much more else he can do considering how he wants to block the shot from Kylian. And it's a second penalty. And you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking Harry Kane. And I'm waiting for Kylian to take that penalty. And again, it's away from me because I'm closer to the other goal. And I'm like, please don't try to overhit it. Don't force it. Remember Kane. And in my head, I was like, he's gonna miss. And to be fair to Mbappe, takes it on the same side. Then he took the first one. He scores again, and I'm like, wow, okay, that takes some cojones, some courage.
That, of course, then took us to the penalty shootout, where
before that, Colomani can win it for France. There's that huge chance that there's the header to start with, that he misses, and then there's that one-on-one with Emi Martinez, where I think he rushes it a bit. I don't know if he's aware where the defender is behind him, but he has more pace than the defender. I think he takes it early. He takes it low when I think you can see that Martinez has committed and is already low. I think he can easily dummy it and then just lift it inside of his foot and the ball goes in and then it's over.
Wishful thinking, obviously road not taken. The reason I referenced before was Mbappe and his penalties, because Mbappe would then take a third penalty. Now, sending Mbappe up first, we've had this debate before. Neymar, do you send your best guys up last or whatever? I thought it was interesting that Mbappe went first. I thought it was significant. I don't have a problem with it because it kind of sends you on your way if he scores, which you did.
Yeah, and 18 months ago at the Euros against Switzerland in the penalty shootout, he went fifth and he missed, and we got knocked out because he missed that pen. And I was happy that this time it changed and he took his responsibility. That was his third penalty in the game against the same goalkeeper. That is in itself super difficult to do. And he puts it the same way again, and this time Martinez has a little touch, not enough to save it, but I like the fact that he went first. I thought this was the right thing to do, the right call. I will be honest with you, seeing who was still on the pitch, I thought he might be the only one to score here.
It did look like a lot of the penalty takers were, although it's weird, you had a bunch of strikers on the pitch at that stage.
Coman, I suspect Thuram was the fifth one. Coman misses.
Practice your penalties. But I'm asking a question here without knowing the answer. Maybe you know the answer. Maybe we'll just speculate because, as you can tell, the game finished not that long ago, and we both had to write afterwards. I don't know what happened. Scaloni, the winning manager, goes on the pitch. There's a whole bunch of people and their families on the pitch. I have no idea if anybody's asked him this or if he's spoken about this. But the fact that Messi went first, I don't know if he had him slated to start later. To go fourth or fifth or whenever they were facing elimination.
First against the Dutch, so I suspect it was the same.
Do you think that played into it though? Do you think Deschamps sent Mbappe up first because Messi went first?
Yeah, maybe, but I think again for both of them it was the right thing to do. Your strongest or maybe second strongest should always go first.
So my thought after Messi took that penalty, and this is what I wrote about in my piece, I said, now it's entirely out of my hands. I have done everything that I can to help this team win a World Cup. Now I just have to put my trust in my teammates.
Yeah.
And if you watch the rest of the shootout, he's up there, he's with his teammates in the middle of the pitch. After every shootout, as the guy walks back, he goes, he greets him, he hugs him, he high-fives him. He's doing these captain-type things, which maybe he hasn't always done in the past, because maybe it's not part of his personality. It's kind of part of the edgier Messi that we see now. In terms of the penalty misses, are you going to blame the penalty takers, or are you going to praise Martinez?
No, I think Martinez did his job. He did the mind game, the trash talking that he did against Colombia, the Copa America.
He got booked as well.
Yeah, because I think he took it a little bit too far when he threw the ball away from Tchouaméni, and then Tchouaméni missed. So yeah, I guess it worked. I'm just not a big fan, to be honest. I don't like that. But this is the way he does it. He's very good at it. Lloris is not good at it. In penalty shootouts, he's never saved anything for France in his whole career.
He's never saved a penalty.
In the penalty shootout, never. So he saved the penalty against Switzerland, for example, at the Euros during the match.
Right.
But then in penalty shootouts, not that they faced many, but he didn't save any. No.
I wonder if Deschamps should have paid some attention to Van Gaal.
But then I'm not sure Mandanda is much better. And
see, he said,
Areola,
if only Magic Mike had been around. If only Magic Mike had been here.
With some ifs, we'll be world champion again.
More broadly, this is Argentina's third World Cup victory. We've been talking about the Argentina fans here in Doha.
They're still in the stadium singing "Muchachos." We can.
You were singing "Muchachos." This is like ahead of the final. Jules can't stop himself from singing along with it. That is how catchy it is.
Yeah, but that was in previous rounds, like not just before the final. You know, I was not a fan of Argentina and Muchachos.
Just for the avoidance of doubt, is there some sort of broader meaning to Argentina? We'll get to Messi in our next segment.
I think it was written somewhere with Diego watching from above that this was going to be theirs. I think it's been a long time coming, since 1986, with a lot of disappointments, with a lot of heartbreaks, whether it's the 1990 final, the 2014 final, the last 16 exit. That must have hurt a lot with all the great generations that they have. They were always going to get it right at some point, but I think the winner of the Copa America, of course, at the Maracanã as well in Brazil, has unlocked something mentally for the squad, for those players, for Scaloni himself, and that's where the genesis of this win today is. It is from that Copa America win.
And as I see it, I don't think this is the most talented Argentina squad I can remember. We can poke a lot of holes in it from 34-year-old Otamendi. Again, on paper, we're talking on paper.
Great.
Enzo, who's phenomenal, but he's had, 6 months at Benfica. Alvarez in and out at City.
Yeah, Alexis from Brighton.
Alexis from Brighton, exactly. Rodrigo de Paul having a poor season by all accounts at Atletico Madrid. But on the day they come together. And often, guys, this is the story of a World Cup. It's not the best players. It's the players who can come together the most, who can get the breaks over the course of 7 games.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.